In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. But there is a detail in this verse that has always intrigued scholars, rabbis, theologians, and even scientists. This light was created on the first day, while the sun, moon, and stars only appeared on the fourth day. How is it possible for light to exist without celestial bodies? What kind of light was this? Was it a spiritual metaphor, or a real entity created before anything we know as physical? The Bible does not lie, but there are things that it reveals in veiled ways, and this light may be one of the most important. This is not a modern question. The ancient Jewish sages themselves debated what this first light, called Or in Hebrew, was. Some said it was a spiritual light, so powerful that it was hidden by God so that evil could not use it. Others claimed that this light revealed everything, the past, the future, even thoughts. A light that was more than illumination. It was absolute vision, pure understanding. And so God withdrew it and kept it for the righteous at the end of time. This is written in the Talmud, in the Midrashim, and echoes even in the oldest Christian texts. But there is an even more mysterious explanation. Some Christian and Messianic Jewish scholars believe that this light was not a thing, but a person. That the "let there be light" was actually the moment when Christ himself, the living Word, entered creation. Before there was a sun, there was the Word. John 1 confirms this. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shines in the darkness. John 1:4-5. It is no wonder that John begins his gospel by echoing Genesis. In the beginning was the Word. If this is true, then God's first creative act was not to create the sun or the earth, but to manifest his own luminous presence in the still empty universe. A presence that drives out darkness by existing, that does not depend on atoms, heat, or nuclear reaction. A light that does not come from outside, but from within God. This changes everything. And perhaps that is why this light has been withdrawn and hidden until today. But where is this light now? Has it disappeared? Or does it still shine somewhere that the Bible suggests but does not directly reveal? In one of the oldest books of Jewish tradition, the Sefer HaZohar, a Kabbalistic text with profound interpretations of the Torah, there is a description that many ignore, that this first light was a direct emanation of God's glory, called organuz, or concealed light. According to the Zohar, this light did not disappear. It was gathered and stored for a specific time, and the righteous at the end of time will see it again. The question is, why was it hidden? What about it was too dangerous for the fallen world? The answer may lie in what happened right after the creation of light. The next verse says, "And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness." Genesis 1:4. This separation was not between day and night, because the sun did not yet exist. It was something deeper, a spiritual division between divine light and that which represented darkness. And according to some ancient texts, this was the moment when the fallen angels rebelled. They could not bear the glory of this light, and they rejected it. Interestingly, apocryphal texts such as the Book of Enoch suggest that celestial beings existed before the creation of the earth, and that, upon seeing the light of the Almighty manifest itself in the new universe, some refused to submit to it. This refusal would have marked the beginning of the conflict in heaven. The light was then withdrawn, and God created the visible world in layers, with physical light, the sun, only on the fourth day as a shadow of the original light. In other words, the sun is not the beginning. It is a reduced copy of the lost light. And here's the scary part. This hidden light still works in the world, but invisibly. There are times when it touches hearts, reveals truths, exposes darkness. It's when a person understands something profound, feels a calling, or has spiritual insight that didn't come from books, but from within. The Christian tradition calls this spiritual enlightenment. It's not emotion nor logic. It's the light that God still allows to shine in the souls of those who seek truth. But that light will one day return in its entirety. Jesus made an intriguing statement in John 8:12. I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness but will have the light of life. This statement, read in light of what we have seen in Genesis, takes on even greater weight. Christ is not just saying that he brings spiritual illumination, he is claiming to be the primordial light itself, the one that shone before the creation of the heavenly bodies, the one that was seen, rejected by some, hidden by God, and now manifested in the flesh. This is why the Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians 4:6, "For God has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ." This would also explain why in the New Jerusalem described in Revelation 21:23, there will be no more sun or moon. The text says, "The city has no need of the sun or of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God gives it light, and its lamp is the Lamb." The original light shines again. The cycle is complete. The restored Eden will be illuminated by the same light that shone on the first day, before any stars existed. This is not symbolic, it is literal within the deeper biblical theology. But there is something that many people overlook. Some ancient manuscripts of Genesis suggest that this light lasted only 36 hours before it was taken away. Texts such as the Midrash Bereshit Rabbah say that Adam, even in Eden, could see the entire world with this light, until it was hidden after the fall. This would explain why Adam had so much knowledge right after he was created. He saw with the eyes of the original light. But when he sinned, everything went dark. He didn't just lose Eden, he lost perfect vision. So what we have here is not just a theological curiosity. It is the revelation that the world we know is a reduced version of the reality God created, a reality that has been dimmed, obscured by the fall, cut off from the source of divine light. And the entire Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, is a divine effort to restore that light. From the first, "Let there be light," through the incarnation of Christ, to the city that will shine without a sun, everything points to the light that has come, has been hidden, and will return. This light did not merely illuminate, it revealed. That is why the ancients called it the light of knowledge, or the light of absolute discernment. Texts from the Jewish tradition say that while it was present, Adam could see from the end of the world to the next. A metaphor for full spiritual vision, free from the limitations of time and space. Imagine a world where everything is seen with truth, without deception, without appearance. That is how Adam saw it. And so when that light was gone, he also lost his spiritual clarity. Fear was born, moral darkness was born. The very idea of darkness in the Bible is not limited to the absence of physical light. Darkness signifies confusion, ignorance, sin, and disorientation. When God separates light and darkness on the first day, he is separating revelation from concealment, truth from illusion. And when that light was hidden, the world began to operate in a cycle of human attempts to rediscover what was lost. Philosophies, religions, science, all in some way seek to rekindle that primordial light, but only God can restore it. This is why Jesus also says in Matthew 6:22, "The lamp of the body is the eye. If your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light." What is he saying? That there is a way to see the world with the original light, not with physical eyes, but with spiritual perception aligned with divine truth. This light cannot be generated by us. It comes from above. It descends as revelation. It illuminates as understanding. And it confronts all that is disguise. That is why many reject it. It shows what no one wants to see. And here comes an important warning. Just as there were heavenly beings who rejected this light, even today there are hearts that resist the truth when it shines. John 3:19 says, "The light has come into the world, but men loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil." In other words, the problem is not the light, it is the willingness to receive it. That same light of Genesis is still offered today, in the form of revealed truth, clear conscience, and spiritual discernment. But who is ready to see it? There is also a detail that many readers miss. Genesis never states that God created darkness. It simply was there. The text says, "Now the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the face of the deep." Genesis 1:2. Light was created, but darkness was found. This leads us to a profound reflection. Light is active, creative, divine, while darkness is absence, the result of God's distance. Therefore, God's first action was to bring light to confront chaos, not with the sun, but with his own presence. And this luminous presence had a mission: to separate. Genesis 1:4 tells us that God saw that the light was good, and so he separated it from the darkness. This is more than a physical movement. It is the beginning of a spiritual principle that will be repeated throughout Scripture. God constantly separates what is his from what is corrupt. He separated Abel from Cain. He separated Noah from the wicked generation. He separated Israel from the other peoples. And it all began with the separation between light and darkness, an invisible line that still divides those who follow the truth from those who shun it. This understanding leads us to reevaluate even Jesus' miracles. When he heals a man born blind, he is doing more than restoring sight. He is restoring access to the light that sin had obscured. When he casts out demons, he is restoring the inner space for light to once again dwell. When he says, "You are the light of the world," he is giving his disciples a mission to reflect the original light of Genesis, the one that did not depend on the sun, but came directly from the Creator. So when we read the first chapter of the Bible, we are not just seeing the beginning of the physical world, we are seeing the spiritual blueprint for everything that would come after. Light versus darkness, revelation versus deception, God manifesting himself to bring order out of chaos. The creation of light on the first day is no small detail. It is the central message of existence. And understanding that light is essential to understanding the entire story of salvation. Many scholars believe that the reason this light was withdrawn is precisely because the world was not ready for it. Just as Moses could not see the face of God, and the people of Israel feared the glory on Mount Sinai, this pure light would reveal too much. It would not only illuminate, it would expose everything, intentions, lies, hidden impurities. So God saved this light for a time of justice, when evil will no longer be able to hide. A time when humanity will be restored and the light will be able to shine, again without being rejected. This idea also appears in messianic prophecies. Isaiah 60:19 says, "The sun will no longer be your light by day, nor will the moon shine for you by its brightness, but the Lord will be your everlasting light." The same language is used in Revelation, as we have seen. In other words, there is a promise of return. The light that shone before will once again illuminate everything. But only those who chose the truth during the time of shadows will be able to fully inhabit it. The light will reveal, but it will also judge. That is why Jesus says in Luke 12:2, "There is nothing covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known." This final revelation will be with the original light, a light that respects no masks, no religions, no appearances, a light that pierces through everything and reveals what is. That is why so many still fear it. and avoid it. They prefer the gloom of human justifications to the unbearable clarity of God's truth. But this light will not be avoidable forever. The day will come when it will return in full force. And when that happens, there will be only two reactions: repentance or resistance. Those who have loved the truth will surrender, acknowledge, and rejoice. But those who have loved darkness will hide or try to. Revelation 6:16 describes people saying, "Hide them from the face of him who sits on the throne, for the great day of his wrath has come." Why? Because the face of God is light, and no one can lie before the original light. It is absolute, holy, and cannot be manipulated. It can only be accepted or rejected. That's why the Bible insists so much on us living in the light. 1 John 1:7 says, "But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ cleanses us from all sin." Notice, walking in the light is not an intellectual matter. It is a way of life. It means living in an exposed, whole, transparent way. It means allowing that original light to reveal us and transform us, and that takes courage, because the light of Genesis does not tolerate shadows camouflaged by religiosity. There is one final revelation about this forgotten light. Ancient Essene manuscripts found at Qumran suggest that certain righteous men were able to access fragments of this light through visions and revelations. Texts such as the Hymn of Light mention a clarity that appeared during intense prayer, where the soul seemed to leave the body and see beyond time. These accounts are scarce, but they have one thing in common. Whenever the light appeared, the truth became undeniable, and the person was never the same again. This echoes an experience that is still described by many Christians around the world today. Moments of revelation where everything becomes supernaturally clear. Where the word seems to shine, decisions are illuminated, and even the future seems aligned with something unseen. These moments may be touches of the original light, which God still allows to shine in a limited way as a reminder of what is to come. But as in Eden, the light demands a response. You either surrender or you turn away from it. This light, then, is not just a curiosity of Genesis. It is the essence of God's presence from before the world. It confronted fallen angels, revealed chaos, and will be the final judgment. It is the first thing God created, and it will be the last thing to be fully restored. Genesis begins with it, Revelation ends with it, and in between these 2 points is our time. The question that remains is, how much of your life is truly being lived in the light? Because living in the light doesn't mean perfection. It means willingness. It means saying, "Lord, expose what needs to change, clear what's hidden, show what my eyes don't see." It means going back to the beginning, to the day God said, "Let there be light," and letting that word be spoken again within you, not as a metaphor, but as a rebirth, as if creation were beginning all over again, not from the outside, but from the inside. A soul that comes out of chaos, out of darkness, and enters into divine order through the light that has never ceased to exist. This light is Christ, not the idea of Christ, not the symbol of a religion, but Christ himself, the Word made flesh, the exact reflection of the Father's glory. He is the light that shines in the darkness since Genesis. He is what has been revealed, rejected, and promised as a return. To deny this light is to deny creation itself. To receive it is to find the meaning of existence again. It all begins with this choice: to flee or to remain, to hide or to be revealed. because the light has come into the world, and it will shine again, with or without our consent. So, more than understanding the mystery of light in Genesis, we need to respond to it. It's not just about what God did in the past, it's about what He wants to do today. Are there parts of your life that are still in the shadows? Are there hidden wounds, hidden sins, confusions that just won't go away? So remember, the first word God spoke was not judgment or condemnation, it was light. He didn't start by creating man, or the sky, or the animals. He started by bringing clarity where there was darkness, and perhaps He is saying this right now: let there be light, not to the world outside, but to your inner world. The light that was not the sun, nor the stars, but the very essence of God, can shine within you today. If this truth burns in your heart, please like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. And we now have a members area. By becoming a member, you bless this work and help us continue to produce edifying and revealing content like this. Just click on the Become a Member button below, next to the subscribe button. Be a part of it.